Hello, everybody. Welcome to Roleplay Cafe. I thought I'd get on here and speak about my character Serto, which I played last Saturday night in Peace, the RPG. Um, Jason ran us through it. By us, I mean myself, David, and Robert. The session is entitled Stones of Those Forgotten. I wanted to explain a little bit about my character from my character's perspective of what was going on in the game, as far as his take on it. May seem odd that I'm saying his take on it, but I'll go through what was in his mind, how his motivations, what his motivations were, how they changed, why he did what he did. All right, because some may find this informative as far as David and Robert, and Jason specifically, and as far as how I approach play in a game. Okay, I developed this character first off through a battle play test that Robert had put me through to give me a sample of the combat. In a sample of combat, I played an orc who, for some reason, whenever I was pitted against some hunters, I used my influence to get out of the situation without having to go into a combat situation. So I taught my way out of it, but I also enabled the bear cub to escape. Right? Okay. That kind of made me wonder after reading the book more so about how the orcs are in this world. You know, there's a stereotypical orc is very might makes right. Power is what it is. You know, crush your enemies. And so he's atypical. He's not the typical orc. So I wanted to play him and then fully realize why there'd be an orc in the setting of peace that would be approaching situations like I did in that combat example. All right. So I sat down to do that. I rolled a character up. There's some rolls in there that randomly determines your height and weight. And I rolled, he is a runt. He was 5'7", 195 pounds. And from that, it brought up the other issue. And maybe that could feed into why he's roaming the plains or why he was out walking as I first described him, right? I outfitted him with the bear cub that I had saved as an animal companion. I outfitted his talents with befriend, which I had utilized in that combat example. Read intentions, like if things are going south, I'm trying to befriend somebody, I could be able to bolt. Now, why would I need to befriend people like that unless maybe I was in trade across the plains with various towns that were dotted across? There's human settlements, there's orc tribes. I'm small enough that I could be misconstrued or as a human. You know, if I'm cloaked and walking there and I needed all the influence and befriending I could do to set up trade partners. And there's no really, I'm more of an in-between lone wolf that I'm not readily accepted by the orcs either because I'm more of a runt, but I had to be tolerated by them for some reason. I'm just not looked in high regard because, you know, diminutive stature. I'm not necessarily a representation of a powerful orc. So from that, which is aside why the bear, as far as company as well as combat partner, right? But he also doubled as somebody that was pulling my wagon. Yes, I ponied up the dough for a wagon. Pony was no slide on you, bear. Anyway, put a chest in it. I can see that he would be caravanning, guiding people across the plains if he could get jobs that way, as well as in trade and get his shards that way. So he was an in-betweener, nomadic, plains dweller. And, but it was a deeper reason that I thought of why would this orc be tolerated and not be just thrown out like, oh, this is the runt. We're going to throw him off the mountains, right? Or let the pigs have him. there had to be some reason that he was allowed or some usefulness of him. So the first concept was that maybe his mother, uh, she had bore a runt, and probably wasn't looked in high regard whenever the only reason uh, Serta, which is the character's name, was allowed to live in the first place was that he had helped to decimate her, right? So he healed the stone and still pushed himself through. So he actually was one of the ones that killed his mother, one of the 10 that killed his mother in Roman legion style. And he had to repress a lot of that. As an orc, you can do that, masculine, see yourself as strong, but it's a hard thing to swallow when you still don't get that respect you should. But they respected him enough to utilize him because they could see how he could possibly get information from the humans. And maybe he did this in his past too, some before he fully was probably readily forgotten by them and just kind of defaulted to trade and whatnot, right? But that's like a lot of the rumors and gossips about him is that he could send information back. He could be leading this caravan into a trap, even though it wouldn't benefit his immediate business practices, or keep him in shards. But nevertheless, people are afraid. So that was the concept I had of him. So whenever we was laying there, and in Jason's recap, he talks about it's starting in the meteor res, wake up with this temporal stone sending out waves. We're getting poisoning from it and the sickness from it, brittle bones, whatnot, as the waves go through us. So I'm getting up and trying to get my bear and get out of there because my drive simply, I'm stacked up on survival. Everything I've laid out in the sky as far as talents and skills and everything else is maxed out to him surviving on the plains and trying to get by and his knowledge of the plains, etc. Then I get up and trying to leave. Stay alive is his drive. The contact, I have an affinity for Robert's character, which is a priest. And because I find him comical, I literally wrote comical down because I see him struggling with his little existential crisis about his God. He's still wrestling with that. So why? Because an orc, it was black and white, Rorschach-like. Why? Maybe your God's not enabling you to be weak. You need to be strong like me. So he almost looks at him like a little brother, or maybe he has an affinity for Robert's character. All right, Garriman. But nevertheless, as far as my character, whenever it breaks off, I try to leave. And I know Garriman was experiencing some kind of anxiety because he's got me going this way and the lady going there to shut the stone. But he's wanting to rescue her. And he's like, we need to rescue these people. And I'm like, we need to get all out of here. Let the ones that want to go, hold that to their breast. Let them go, walk to their own doom. Because the orcs, I mean, they can commune with and understand and communicate with the elementals, but not so much my character. In fact, I had kind of put a wedge between me and anything that was kind of orcishness in my own mind, right? I wanted to separate myself, right? That was the first concept. So it was really weird. Whenever finally Robert's character gets angry with me and tells me off, and I find it almost comical, but he's put up this firewall that I can't get past. So I'm like, well, it is what it is. It's black and white, right? So it's a good day to die. So I grab my shield and axe. If Robert's character wouldn't have been so earnest about it, almost in a comical way to me or whatever, but he inspired me. So I took off running. I was like, come on, priest, you ready to go? Let's go. All right, we deal with that situation. I come back, got to deal with my cart being broken, but on the way to that stone, the undead orcs are coming out, and they've got this armor on, the markings and everything. I don't recognize immediately. I'm taking them out, but on the way to the stone, Jason says you hear your mother's voice beckoning you to come, right? Now, it affects my composure. Immediately from the situation that I had in my mind about my history, can you imagine something that this orc had been trying to repress for so long? coming up fully like that via the stone. And so he staggers. Almost in rage, he takes out, you know, the undead orcs that are coming out of it. And Jason says, you recall that the armor that they're wearing, you recognize it from, the name of the orc from 400 years in past or whatever like that was Orc Tribesman. So now I'm connecting dots, okay, on my own that my mother would have told me that. So that just digs deeper and breaks that levee, and all of a sudden that stuff is still trying to trouble me in my mind as far as the orcs uh, mindset. But I'm still trying to ignore it. I go back and try to fix my thing, my wagon, get the carpenter to fix it. They, David and Robert, find out that there has been a mine after we discover through telltale signs that we've gone back in time. Fortress is not there. Various key landmarks aren't there. The land's changed a little bit, greener the grass. So we put two and two together. Right? There's two miners that are going to find the mine to stake a claim, which in the time period that we came from in peace, that mine's already monopolized. You can't get anywhere around it. They've already got a monopoly on the money source, the shards. So I'm sitting there and they come to me, we got to go find these miners because they're looking for a way back. They've heard tell and tell, but I don't have that agenda. When I get up, do I want to go back and be a scavenger on the land? I don't think so, because now I've got this tormenting mindset. And I see this as an opportunity to right the ship, correct some wrongs, to start a new orc culture, to enact some vengeance, to change things, right? Go back. Maybe I'll go back later, but right now I got business to do. So he's gone. He's had a worldview shift. It was a pivot point moment from staying alive to realizing that everything, the whole concept of that character, being a nomadic merchant, being ousted from his Orcan tribe, are not really fully readily acceptable for his size and stature, and looked down at, which he held contempt for, but he would always just kind of just shrug it off. Things are black and white the way they are, and laugh everything off. Okay. Befriend, he was, like I said, he was an affable fella, and it served him to do what he needed to do. But now with this revelation, he's seeing what he was more so fully in a mirror, but he's still trying to ignore it long enough to do some desperate act to correct it, to make everything all right. So that was the mindset he went into when he goes to find them. Yes, I'll find me some shards and I'll set this up, and then I'll have control of the money. I won't be going around begging for trade for shards to do this and that and get laughed at and sneered at the whole way. So when we get there, find out that there's this ring of 25 orcs around these two humans and their mounts, whatever the prospectors. So I bowled in there. He's not a big orc, but he's on a bear. He goes into the center of this ring of horses. I'm hoping we'll maybe get spooked a little bit. I get into the center and I talk to what appears to be the lieutenant. And I'm saying, like, using my influence to say, hey, throw a little ruse out there. Glad y'all caught these two. Got away from me, slipped away. They're my bounty. I need to turn them into, the orc chieftain. So he almost buys it and then he don't, right? And of course, I've got written down here that I have read intentions. I didn't really roll for that, but it goes along with the character's concept. And I noticed that he didn't buy it. So I tell the bear one word, attack. The bear jumps him, holds him down. He doesn't break free with a strength test. I lob off his head with an axe. I use that, pick up the head. Y'all get out of here. Their composure breaks. The minions, orcs, the young orcs that are around him, they head off to the heels. I turn around to the two miners, say, y'all need to set up Serto's mine right now. All right. I roll influence, seems to work on them. They overhear the fact that David and Robert's like, we need to chase these guys down because they're still looking for a way out, for some kind of a portal to get back to where they're going, right? And track that down. They can believe whatever they want to believe. My agenda even though it differs from theirs, is still in that direction because now I've got these two miners that can set up mining for me, and then I can go there and they're making me another light bulb moment that I can take out this orc chieftain and really hit the root of the problem. Erase his name would be replaced by Surdo, my name. Change the whole culture, orc culture, who's going to be respecting who. He's got a new motivation. He's got new drive. It is a desperate drive. It's a all or nothing drive. But the fact is, he's keeping his mind focused on that, aggressively so he doesn't have to stop and take stock in what happened. So he can still, it's like an automatic repression of trying to push down what was bubbling up. So everything, his actions, even though they seemed erratic, was still a way to suffocate what was trying to be brought up just from that one simple thing that you hear your mother's call, right? So we chase him down. I go ahead. I'm very aggro. I take the bear up the mountain. These 20 or so horsemen are trying to weave their way. They've got this thin column going up the mountain side through a ravine, basically. I leave it. I get in the front, cause a rock slide, take out a few of them. David and Robert take out some of the back. They want to capture somebody to get them to lead them so they can make a deal or do whatever they need to. My character is not really going to be in a mindset to debate this or say what's the best approach of action. I know clearly what my character is after and why he would be motivated as he is. Get up there, I see two orcs stationed in a stand up in a tree. Send the bear up there, take them out. They fall down the mountainside. David and Robert catch up. We look at the area, and I'd seen this before. Mountains 400 years in the past is going to be similar to the way it is 400 years later. And I've got a lot of knowledge of the area. And it's my tribe, so it's sort of similar, right? But I do notice where the chieftain's tent would be. And it was probably a lucky roll or whatever, but I was aggro on seeing the fulfillment of my dreams come about, being so close, I could almost taste it. Make my way down, go in the back, send the bear in the front. Although while Robert's like, no, don't kill him. If you kill him, before we left the ridge, he said, if you kill him, I'll put an arrow in your back. He said it seriously to me. And I looked at him, and because I like him, and in a way I think he's reciprocal, and it's more like an orc, it's more like orc banter to Surdo. You make a good orc. And then I head down there. I'm not totally dismissing what he said. I know he's got this and that. Yeah, okay, Jeff, you really don't want me to kill him? Yeah, we'll hold him down, we'll torch him, that kind of thing. So I make my way in there, try to grapple him. He's 7 foot something tall. He literally beats the bear to a pulp, beats his brains in all over right in front of the tent. Now, this triggers me because, as I said, I'd raised that bear from a cub. So whenever I roll again, I happen to roll boxcars, which one of them's explosive. And I roll another 6 explosive, another 6 explosive. It's all adding up to AP points. I can apply those AP points in however I deem fitting, and I do. And I'm hacking and whacking. David hit him twice, knock him down, still going at it. All right, so going, he's trying to stop me. That's when I do the predator thing and reach in there and pull his skull out with his spine, hold it up. I'm like, I am your new. I mean, it's a alpha male society. This works. I'm your new chieftain now. I've taken down that. That was a championship moment. And then Robert's like, stop right now. So he cast it. In game, he stops. He put a timer on it. He said, kids, don't try this at home. But he's gone off his rocker. This is not a personal player versus player thing. This is all in character. Which he's correct. He's correct. I can see his character want to do that. His character's got an agenda to do that. Now, I believe that in character play can be very dynamic, can be enriching and intriguing. You got this microcosm of separate uh, worldviews and agendas and dreams and personalities inside of a party, but they stay a party because there's outside circumstances that will crush them if they don't have each other's back. So if you totally toss out the microcosm of the in character situations that can result, and you just have cardboard cutouts as characters, or you're moving your little avatar around, or you're playing in a role of like I'm the medic or I'm the fighter, you never really get to sink your teeth into understanding your fellow humans or orcs or what have you and what motivates them. So you would never be in a game and say, oh, I just see a hot button issue. We need to get him out. Remember like the A-team? We're going to fly this plane. Let's put BA out because he's going to freak out. All right. That was BA. Anyway, as players, that is the way that I like to play. After playing for so many years, when I get to that, if it's not to where it's enriching and involving on a inner character uh, relation, it becomes not flavorable. You become where you're trying to leverage your resources to win a situation or a combat outcome. You're oftentimes fast tracked to the next combat or arena, and the role playing is like a side activity. And I know Robert, he made peace to where it allows you to have meaningful role play. And in fact, even in the mechanics, he pays heed to that by allowing influence to be a legitimate mechanical device that you apply in a situation to confront and deal with situations. So I know he's at least aware of that. I know he likes narration in games, and to play off of that. The deepening of character and character development is important to, otherwise you really don't care if the character lives or dies. There's no emotional contact. There's no memories made in game so much. You don't feel a pang of sadness whenever somebody passes away or the bear I'll just get another one. So it doesn't mean anything, So when you can have characters getting to know one another, even though the first few sessions may be bumpy, and then you get to know the characters and their little hot button area issues or areas, and you go, oh, I know him a little bit better now. Do that. I'm not going to mention so-and-so or his wife around him because they had it's almost like it's another layer of enjoyment and depth of characterization that you get to enjoy and experience on that level. And you can have this with NPCs too. If Jason's playing and he's putting an NPC up, you can have dialogue with that back and forth. So I don't want the dialogue. I don't want the interactions to be just kind of not important to the situation or not really relevant or just some kind of a flavor, but it doesn't have much meaning. I would rather have it more of an emotional meaning on a deeper level that can be realized through that. Like I said, the inter-party character dynamics and relations and how they relate to the world outside and the stimuli and the pressures that they all feel and the directions that they all may want to bolt toward or after or away from. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Have my back, have yours, build a trust, build bonding, know that you've been through something. And when you establish that at the get-go and you can bond that and through some sessions, you get to know each other a little bit better as characters, know what makes each other tick, gain trust. That's where ultimately you want to be. Peace was able to facilitate that. And then the guys may have thought I was, cracking a whip as far as like, let's go on this tour. There was meaning, and he had reasons for why he was acting that way, and they had reasons for why they were acting that way, So, um, that's the beautiful part of the role playing experience, especially when uh, you're allowed to express your character and go wherever you want to. And I know when Jason runs these games, and the way we set it up, these games in general, especially with the naive narrator, which he did a little hybrid test of traditional and naive narrator, it doesn't really matter where you go. And he loves the surprises the same way we do. I didn't know they were going to do that. This is presented in front of them. They can do with it what they will. Go which way. How is each one of these characters going to react to this? Like I said, it takes a little bit to build a bonding, but I think it's worth it overall. Um, for the experience, to stay in that headspace uh, and be allowed to express your character and stay true to the integrity of your character's uh, position, worldview, whatever demons he's wrestling inside or what have you, will all be on display in game. The more you can be allowed to play inside of a character's head, just slip in his shoes and own it and play. Um, I really enjoyed the game. It was a bell ringer, as I said. You hit the top bell, bing. Good game. I think I can't speak for the other guys, but I think they did too. I believe Jason did. He said he loved it on his recap, and that's earnest. Yeah, I think we all did. Heck, we're still talking about it. You know what I mean? I know the next day woke up. That was a good game. You don't even really have to say it when it is. It just is, and that was a good game. So I'm really interested in what Robert's got coming up. He's going to be running us next, and we'll give that a try and see what happens. There's going to be several sessions, so we can really dig in, put our heels in, dig in deep, develop these characters if they live. But it is what it is. All right. And I'll let y'all go for tonight. So stay safe out there. We'll talk at you later.